public pressure seems to have worked. The Gen Z outcry has finally led to some action. What began as online outrage has now reached the country's highest courts. And today, the Supreme Court of India put the sort of controversial new definition of Aravalli Range on hold. This was the same definition that was relied on, a 100-meter height rule to decide what qualifies as Aravalli Hills, and a rule environmentalists, remember, warned could strip legal protection for the vast stretches of one of India's oldest mountain systems. Now, what happened today? Let's give you an update there. During today's hearing, the court acknowledged that the 100-meter benchmark may not be the correct way to define a hill range like Aravalli, and that parts of its earlier order were being interpreted in ways that raised serious environmental concerns. The bench also took note of fears that this definition could open ecologically sensitive areas to mining and also real estate activity. As a result, the Supreme Court has kept its earlier order in abeyance and announced that a fresh expert committee will be constituted to re-examine how the Aravalli Range should be scientifically and legally defined, and what level of protection is must to be continued as well. But this intervention, remember, did not happen in isolation. One of the key factors behind today's moment was the Gen Z protest that unfolded in parts of India, especially in Jaipur. A protest that spoke volumes without shouting too much. 2025, remember, in many ways has been a year of Gen Z uprisings. From Nepal to Bangladesh, young voices have challenged power, reshaped political conversations, and in India, Gen Z came together around a very different and perhaps a more lasting cause. It was not politics, it was not ideology, but it was our Mother Earth, the environment. And at the center of it all was the Aravallis. In Jaipur, young protesters gathered to question a definition that could quietly erase protection of the hills that act as a natural shield for North India. No violence took place, no disruption, just placards and clear warning that redefining hills on paper can flatten ecosystems on the ground. The protest obviously spoke 1,000 words, and it was heard. Today, the rule has been paused, the order is on hold, and the debate on Aravallis is back where it belongs, grounded in science, ecology, and public interest. Take a look at what happened in Jaipur, really, and then we'll return to some of those voices to understand how did they make it happen.
Save the Aravallis, save the Greens, save the nation. The anger on the streets was loud, the message unmistakable. Public outrage erupted after a revised definition of the Aravalli Range left vast stretches of these ancient hills sensitive to regulated mining. Leading the charge, Gen Z young voices fight to protect one of the world's oldest natural shields. And this time, the pressure worked. The Supreme Court has put its own order on hold, staying the centre's definition of the Aravalli Hill Range. The top court initiated suo motu proceedings, admitting that critical clarifications are needed. A new expert committee will be formed to re-examine the definition, replacing the earlier panel, which the court itself noted was dominated by bureaucrats. And the top court's recent ruling has been met with a positive response.
हमने ये मुद्दे उठाए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने आज क्या कहा है? सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि अब तक परिभाषा हम बदलेंगे नहीं, इस पर और विश्लेषण होगा, अध्ययन होगा, इस पर विचार होगा, और हम मानते हैं कि अरावली पर्यावरण के नजरिए से एक बड़ा संवेदनशील मामला है।
अपेक्षा के अनुरूप फैसला हुआ है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सुओ मोटो पीएल फाइल की थी, समझ जाना चाहिए क्यों करी, ये नौबत क्यों आई।
डेफिनेटली आई मीन ये जुडिशियल इंटरवेंशन एक बहुत सही टाइम पे, और कंसिडरिंग के 4 दिन बाद कोर्ट खुल रहे थे और इसको छुट्टियों में लिया गया है, सो इट्स ऑब्वियसली वेल मीनिंग एंड मच नीडेड.
The relief comes after fierce criticism of the centre's 100-meter rule, a definition that would have opened the doors to legal mining in nearly 90% of the Aravallis. While the government announced a ban on new mining leases, concerns refused to die down. Now, with the Supreme Court pressing pause, many see this as a victory for reason and resistance. But for how long the Aravallis remain protected? That question still hangs in the air. Bureau Report, India Today.